The manhwa continued as, after the training previous night, Lu Xing woke up next day to attend martial arts combat class at Baihe High School. As he reached the sports gym, Lu Qiming rushed past Lu Xing and opened a locker room door for him in advance. The two who were supposed to be sworn friends, but suddenly one seemed to be reduced to a mere follower of the other, while Lu Qiming didn't even realize, as if everything was natural and as it should be. Lu Xing, why have you lost so much weight? Inside the dressing room, Lu Xing and Lu Qiming were changing into the martial arts gear required for the actual combat class. Lu Xing, who took off shirt and pant, displayed a muscular body with clear-cut definitions and lines like that of a cheetah. He had grown slightly slimmer. This was due to the rapid rise of his BQV when being undernourished. I need to trim my hair. Lu Xing looked at his familiar yet unfamiliar face in the mirror. His thin and shapely eyes were deep and dark, which occasionally burst out with knife-like sharp tinge. Now, even if he just stood there calmly, he would give people an inexplicable sense of shock. After changing clothes, Lu Xing and Lu Qiming walked into the martial arts hall together. The entire martial arts hall was very large, which was divided into a block of padded field. Each field was equivalent to a practical combat class practice classroom. They were obviously not the only class to use the hall in this time period, so Lu Xing and Lu Qiming found their own class venue and quickly walked over. Everyone sat in a circle around the edge of the field, and a middle-aged man with a robust physique, and muscles that strained his loose martial arts uniform slightly, stood in the middle. This is a practical combat class. I hope you have consolidated what I taught you before. The content of the basic combat techniques. The teacher of the practical combat class was named Zhong Jinghua, an official level 2 martial artist, who was said to have been in battle and had fought head-on with a foreign beast. The huge scar on Zhong Jinghua's deliberately bare right arm was the best proof of this. This is also his most proud possession, having boasted about it more than once to the students in class. Next, Zhong Jinghua began to formally explain the use of various combat techniques to the students, and called a boy up to be his sparring partner. In Lu Xing's opinion, these fighting techniques taught by Zhong Jinghua were simple and crude, and what he learned in his dreams were far more brilliant in many times. Every time he asks Yang Yifei to go up, can he not pick from the ordinary students and give them a chance? Damn it! Lu Xing suddenly heard a sour complaint from Lu Qiming next to him. Only then did he notice the boy who had been called up by Zhong Jinghua to accompany him to practice combat techniques. The boy's name was Yang Yifei, his family was well off, his martial arts performance ranked top in the grade, plus with his handsome appearance, he had a certain popularity even in the school. You can't block it even if you are given the chance, even with the force withdrawn. Mr. Zhong's fist is not something anyone can block. Lu Xing glanced at Lu Qiming and said indifferently. Lu Qiming's face reddened, and he muttered. Who let Yang Yifei's family be so good? He has all kinds of tonics for his meal. I heard that his BQV has almost reached 1.2. Lu Xing did not talk to him again, just calmly watched the demonstration of Zhong Jinghua and Yang Yifei. Lu Qiming looked unconvinced, as he would be able to do better than Yang Yifei if given the same environment and resources as him. On the surface it looked like he was listening carefully, but in fact Lu Xing was pondering about the details of his scholarship, and how he could raise the matter with the teacher. At last the demonstration was finished. Zhong Jinghua ended the drill and casually greeted Yang Yifei beside him. Yang Yifei, you don't go down, find another person to practice with you. Yes. Yang Yifei was insouciant, seemingly used to such special treatment long ago. Is there any student who is willing to come up and have a spar with Yang Yifei? Zhong Jinghua asked loudly, and wherever his gaze landed, students did their best to go unnoticed or dodged his eyes. No one? Zhong Jinghua frowned slightly, somewhat dissatisfied. Every time he talked about actual combat practice, these students cowered, like ostriches, and wanted to bury their heads in the ground, so how could he teach them? Many people privately talk about how he was biased towards the top students in the class. These people did not really think before passing such comments, because every time such occasions came up, except for the top students like Yang Yifei, how many people dared to come forward to accept his guidance? Many people like to complain about the lack of opportunities, but they did not understand that the opportunity slips away because of their repeated retreat in the face of it. Zhong Xinghua swept his gaze over every student, gradually becoming disappointed in his heart. Just as he was about to order a random person up, he suddenly met a pair of dark, deep eyes. Zhong Xinghua's eyes lit up, and his gaze landed on a student with calm eyes and a slim body. In the crowd that had avoided his gaze, someone who dared to look him square in the eye suddenly appeared to be so striking and abrupt. "Okay, that student you come up and practice with Yang Yifei." Zhong Xinghua pointed at the distinctive student and said loudly. "Lu Xing, Teacher Zhong is calling you, Lu Xing returned from his thoughts and suddenly realized that he had been asked by Zhong Xinghua to come up and spar with Yang Yifei. The students to the left and right all looked at Lu Xing with a sadistic gaze, as if looking forward to a good show, and even Lu Qiming gave him a self-seeking look. For nobody students like him and Lu Xing, the chances of being called up by the teacher in class were the same as winning the lottery. There is no telling what kind of bad luck Lu Xing had today, to be picked in the practical combat class as a sparring partner. Then, he stood up and walked toward the middle of the field. Lu Xing walked over to Zhong Xinghua and calmly greeted him. Zhong Xinghua noticed the strong, smooth and well-defined muscle full of strength revealed under Lu Xing's visibly short sleeves, and couldn't help but light up. "How come I didn't notice that there was such a good seedling in the class before?" Zhong Xinghua looked up and down at Lu Xing with a slightly pleased look and asked, "What is your name?" "Lu Xing." "What was your score on the last blood chi value test?" Lu Xing thought for a moment and replied truthfully. 0.802. Only 0.8? It's a bit on the low side, it doesn't look like it. Zhong Xinghua frowned. Could it be that I have misjudged? Zhong Xinghua shook his head, but didn't continue to think too deeply, then arranged. "Spar with Yang Yifei, use the martial arts techniques I just taught, and after the end, I will point out any shortcomings in your movements." "Understood." Lu Xing nodded, then walked over to Yang Yifei and stood still. Yang Yifei's expression was relaxed, he nodded slightly at Lu Xing, and reminded him. "My blood chi value is 1.22 already, so I might strike a little too hard later, you should be careful." Lu Xing didn't react, only casually nodded. "Here I come!" Yang Yifei shouted, and his entire body sprang forward like a cheetah, dashing towards Lu Xing. Even Zhong Xinghua, who was watching from the sidelines, couldn't help but nod his head slightly when he saw his performance. As for the students at the bottom, they were already well prepared to be amazed. Lu Qiming turned his head slightly and looked at Lu Xing with a worried expression. Yang Yifei lunged at Lu Xing with an arrogant smile, thinking about finishing it in a single blow. As his fists reached Lu Xing, his face expressions changed, fear can be seen on his face. To his surprise, Lu Xing with a swift movement dodged his punch and took his stance to throw a punch back at him. Yang Yifei could not perceive what was happening in front of his eyes, he stood there dazedly. Suddenly Lu Xing punched him on his face. Then, in the next moment, a figure flew out from the middle of the field, flying out 5 to 6 meters away, before falling hard on the ground. Everyone around was silent, staring fixedly at the middle of the field with a confused expression. Everyone looked at Lu Xing in a daze, and Yang Yifei, who fell to the ground from pain, couldn't believe his eyes. Lu Xing, with a single move, sent Yang Yifei, a genius with a blood chi value of 1.2 who was ranked in the top 10 of his grade, flying out? They doubted whether they were dreaming. Zhong Xinghua shouted, "Silence!" as he rushed forward Yang Yifei. The field became eerily quiet. As for Lu Xing, he was standing in the middle of the field with dignity, and it appeared as if he didn't even take one step. Everyone looked at Lu Xing's eyes again, as if they were looking at a monster. Even Zhong Xinghua was stunned. Then he quickly realized one thing. He indeed didn't misjudge. "Hurry and get 2 people to help Yang Yifei go to the infirmary." Zhong Xinghua quickly gave orders, and only then did the others wake up as if they were dreaming and took action. Some students put Yang Yifei on a stretcher and took him away. "Teacher Zhong, Lu Xing wanted to explain to Zhong Xinghua that it wasn't his intention to not use the fighting techniques he taught. Instead, when Yang Yifei was rushing over, his fighting instinct drove him to do so subconsciously. By the time he reacted and wanted to cooperate with the sparring, Yang Yifei was already sent flying. Who knew he was so incapable of fighting? Zhong Xinhua looked at Lu Xing for a moment. Stop, you come with me for a moment. Zhong Xinhua put his big hand on Lu Xing's shoulder, ordered him and breezed out the door, not caring whether the practical class was over or not. Lu Xing could only obediently follow. Only after the two left did a loud chatter explode in the field. What the hell? Was Lu Xing high on drugs? Why was he so strong? Even Yang Yifei couldn't beat him? That guy is Lu Xing, isn't he? The Lu Xing we know, right? Yang Yifei has a blood chi value of 1.22, but even he couldn't beat Lu Xing. Just how much is Lu Xing's blood chi value? Amidst a wave of awe and chatter, Lu Qiming's mouth was wide open, staring dazedly in Lu Xing's distant direction. He was still confused. As they entered the office, Lu Xing noticed a bonsai plant and a combat power testing device. Didn't you say that your last BQV test score was 0.8? And blood value test score was 0.8? And do you think you look like a 0.8? Zhong Xinhua just brought Lu Xing to the office, and stared at him with burning eyes. Lu Xing was a little helpless and said, Teacher Zhong, you said that you were asking about the last test result. Zhong Xinhua was speechless for a moment, and after thinking about it, he said, I'll test you again now. Lu Xing nodded his head. Lu Xing put his hand on the sphere. A sudden gust of energy was released from the sphere as it tested Lu Xing's blood chi value. A few moments later, the test results came out. It showed a blood chi value of 1.532, making Lu Xing eligible to become a rank 1 martial artist. While Zhong Xinhua was lost in his thought, he got startled to hear a loud noise. Bang! Lu Xing, while assessing his combat power index, broke the assessment machine, which in result destroyed the bonsai tree that was placed behind the machine. Zhong Xinhua was depressed at the sight of his favorite bonsai being destroyed. Zhong Xinhua looked at Lu Xing with a complicated look that was hard to describe in words. It was as if he was in shock, yet there was joy in it. There was a bit of surprise in that joy, included with a trace and doubt and disbelief. Doubts about himself, doubts about the truth, a complex look. When was the last time you tested? Zhong Xinhua took a deep breath, trying to calm down his mood, and opened his mouth to ask Lu Xing. Lu Xing thought about it and returned. The last monthly test, about less than a month. If we include the private test, it should be about a week ago. Less than a month ago. Zhong Xinhua didn't know what to say. It already exceeded the standard for level 1 martial artists. Mr. Zhang eagerly asked if he was from some renowned family, or if he had been taught by a grandmaster. To his surprise, Lu Xing revealed that he was neither in high society nor did he receive training from a grandmaster. Mr. Zhang reflected on his own past experiences, reminiscing about how he had become a level 2 martial artist before joining the military. He remembered the lessons he learned on the battlefield, where he came to realize that people like him could never hope to triumph over monsters. The sheer strength and power of those beasts were beyond normal martial artists. The only people who were capable of standing against them were only a few people. They were people having heaven-defying talents, possessing strength impossible for normal people to imagine. Zhong Xinhua, after witnessing Lu Xing's talents, considered him to equal to those heaven-defying geniuses. This is definitely a combat-type martial arts genius. At this moment, Zhong Xinhua had an incomparably strong hunch in his heart. Zhong Xinhua also almost sorted out his mood by this time. With your current grades, you can apply to the school's top class. Zhong Xinhua also didn't ask for the reason behind Lu Xing's BQV doubling nearly in a month's time. It wasn't worth asking. Teacher, I think it's fine for me to stay in my current class. There's no need to change classes. Lu Xing replied. Zhong Xinhua nodded with a complicated expression. He also felt that there was no need. The cultivation of BQV relied entirely on the students themselves, and what the school teacher could teach was only some skills in practical combat. Then, if you have any requests that you think the school can help you with, you can ask for them now. Zhong Xinhua inquired. Lu Xing was waiting for this opportunity. I want to apply to the school for the martial arts scholarship, and I would like to get more free time at school. Lu Xing brought up the two ideas he had in mind together, The second one came to him on the spur of the moment. Lu Xing had always felt that the current him staying in school was more of a waste of time. If he could have more time to practice his body refining techniques and explore the dream world every day, his strength might grow even faster. I'll apply for a 30,000 yuan scholarship to the school for you, and you should be able to receive the money within 2 days. The school will hold a meeting to discuss the matter during school hours, but there shouldn't be any problems with that too. After all, you are a genius. Genius should have certain privileges. Zhong Jinghua promptly responded to Lu Xing's request. In addition to that, I can promise you, if you achieve a high ranking in the city by representing our Baihe No. 3 middle school in the college entrance exams, the school will provide you with an additional reward. Zhong Jinghua wore a formal expression as he said this, as if he already saw Lu Xing as equal. Zhong Jinghua took out his bank card and offered it to Lu Xing and advised him to use it to satisfy his needs until the school issued a scholarship. Lu Xing was hesitant to accept it, but Zhong Jinghua told him to pay it back once he gets the scholarship. Thank you, Teacher Zhong. I'm thankful to the school as well. Lu Xing expressed his gratitude. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first, Teacher Zhong. I understand. Zhong Jinghua nodded. Yes, you can go. A few moments after Lu Xing left, Zhong Jinghua, who was sitting in a chair, suddenly stood up. The calm on his face vanished, replaced with an intense rush of excitement and triumph. Lu Xing, my Baihe No. 3 middle school has actually produced someone like Lu Xing. I'll keep Lu Xing as a secret weapon before the college entrance exam. After the college entrance exam, I will taunt those from the No. 1 and No. 2 high schools. Haha, I'm getting excited just thinking about those guys' expressions. In a shop named Martial Medicine Hall, a tall teenager in a school uniform was looking at the products on the counter. A scholarship was on its way, and Lu Xing couldn't wait to go to the mall and decide how to spend the money. It wasn't that he couldn't restrain himself, planning to spend the money before he even received it. Instead, he just really wanted to improve his strength quickly. Zhong Jinghua assured Lu Xing that he could get him a special scholarship from Baihe 3rd High School. An amount of 30,000 yuan. Lu Xing originally regarded this money to be quite a lot, but now that he took a look, he realized the amount would prove to be completely insufficient. Being a martial artist from a poor family in this cruel martial artist era was simply too difficult. Lu Xing also realized the heft of the burden pressing down on his parents. Lu Qinghe is right. With her martial arts talent, if only she didn't have a mediocre brother like him to drag her down, the accomplishments she might have had under her belt would have been even greater than now. It's like how Lu Hai had decided to provide him and Qinghe with 2 sets of blood nourishment tonics each per month, the current limit of the Lu family. If these 4 sets of blood nourishment tonics could be provided to Lu Qinghe alone, the result would naturally be more pronounced. When he thought over it again, the conviction to earn money became even stronger in him. Whether it's for my own cultivation or for Lu Qinghe's martial path, I should work harder. Lu Xing did not continue to look any further and walked out of the mall. Several high school students wearing school uniforms and carrying backpacks jostled and ran past Lu Xing in a group, rushing into the nearest internet cafe. Lu Xing stirred a little. A month or so ago, he was just like these people, hanging out at school every day, and the internet cafe after school. It was like fish living in muddy water, blinded by the turbidity in front, muddled every day, flapping in place, no direction, no motivation. Lu Xing felt like he had been trapped in a fish tank, unable to break out of it. Now that he had poked his head out of the water, he was clear-headed and understood exactly what he wanted, and knew exactly where the road from him lay. Do I regret? Lu Xing asked himself softly. I do not. Lu Xing's eyes were calm as he answered firmly. At that instant, various memories of martial arts suddenly flashed through Lu Xing's mind. A large portion of fragmented images swished past his eyes. At the instant, he seemed to have grasped something, and something seemed to have been broken. Lu Xing's mind became incomparably clear, and something brand new burgeoned in his heart. A breakthrough. Lu Xing looked at his hands and was somewhat lost in thought. He clearly felt that the bottleneck on hand combat, and fist techniques that he had reached by absorbing a large number of memories before was broken at this moment. His understanding of fist techniques had reached a whole new level. It was a state that was hard to describe. The current Lu Xing felt that he could perfectly master any of the fist or hand combat techniques in his mind. He could do the most appropriate response using hand combat techniques in different situations. A clear heart and a clear mind. This phenomenon is known as epiphany in martial arts. Did I just experience an epiphany? Lu Xing was not sure. But it didn't matter. He only knew that his strength should have improved again. With the money that he received from Zhongjinghua, Lu Xing purchased the moxibustion device as well as some tonics for his sister. Then he quickened his pace to reach home. After reaching home, he traveled to the dream world for further training. On the gray mist-shrouded wilderness, two figures were exchanging blows. Lu Xing's opponent was a zombie dressed in a blue jumpsuit. This type of zombie was much stronger than the ones he had encountered before, the ones wearing gray jumpsuits. They had greater strength, were faster, and even retained some fighting skills. The one in front of him was like that. The blue jumpsuit zombie roared low and stretched out its thick arm to grasp at Lu Xing fiercely. The arm emitted a whirring sound of breaking air. Lu Xing's eyes remained stayed. He took a few steps forward abruptly. He used his shoulders and pressed them against the large arm of the blue jumpsuit zombie to block its punch. Then quickly reached out and wrapped his arms around the latter's neck in an unconventional position, and shifted it downwards, and pulled back hard. His knee blasted out like a cannonball, and hit the zombie's jaw position fiercely. The blue jumpsuit zombie's head folded in bizarre angel and lolled behind the shoulder. After quivering for a while, it fell to the ground. The corpse quickly weathered, surfacing a black line of smoke that quickly scurried into Lu Xing's body. When Lu Xing opened his eyes, indicating that he had absorbed the memories. The harvest this blue jumpsuit, elite monster, brought was not at all small. After absorbing the memory, Lu Xing felt that his comprehension of hand combat had reached a new level. During this, absorbing the memories of a large number of uniformed zombies had another benefit in addition to accelerating Lu Xing's martial arts progress. With the clues obtained from one memory after another, Lu Xing gradually pieced together a route that actually led to base 1359. This is the correct direction. If I keep going, eventually I'll be able to reach base 1359, and it shouldn't be too long before that day arrives. The area ahead of Lu Xing was shrouded in gray fog, with a few stumbling figures emerging from it occasionally. He strode ahead with a firm gaze. Lu Xing appeared in the familiar wilderness. A sturdy zombie was the first to notice Lu Xing and quickly pounced on him with a low roar. There was no hesitation. Lu Xing quickly rushed up. He blocked and punched. There was only an exchange of two moves before the zombie wearing an unrecognizable style of clothing had its neck snapped by Lu Xing. Just as Lu Xing punched a zombie's head and was absorbing its memories after having dealt with it, his eyes got transfixed by something. Lu Xing saw the gray mist disperse and flow like water in the direction directly in front of him. There were silhouettes of crumbling, magnificent buildings that were slowly being revealed as the gray mist cleared. Finally! I've reached it! The legendary base 1359. Lu Xing was extraordinarily calm and cautious. There were times when the unknown also represented danger. He ran like the wind in the direction of the base. Lu Xing was fast, but his footsteps were very light. Finally, Lu Xing came to the foot of the giant city. He hid under a ruined wall and looked up to survey the city in front of him. This majestic city was truly displayed in front of him. It was hard to describe just how big this city was. Lu Xing needed to crane his neck to an angle close to the limit in order to barely look at the top of the city walls. The entire city was surrounded by walls that towered into the clouds. This reminded Lu Xing of a certain anime that had giant towering walls protecting a city from the attack of evil giants in his previous life. Compared to those walls in the anime, these walls were considerably much taller. The entire city, from the outside, looked like a huge broken bowl full of cracks, breakage, and delamination. The debris he was leaning on was one insignificant piece that was knocked off the dilapidated bowl. It was hard to imagine that there was any power in this world that could tear open such a solid defense line. Looking at the site with his own eyes, he understood that the scenes of destruction he had seen in the memories were but the 10,000th fraction of what had really happened. Base 1359. There should be at least 1,000 more similar bases like this. Where are the rest of those bases? Are they still intact? What exactly have the people of this world gone through, and are there any survivors left? Many doubts arose in Lu Xing's heart. He took a step towards the giant city. He felt that the truth was waiting for him there. As he explored the city within the walls, Lu Xing's eyes were drawn to a towering building. HM! It should be command center. Within its walls, he caught a glimpse of a man that seemed to be a master. Huh! What's that? It should be a zombie. As he took a peek at the corpse sitting inside the building, an immense surge of killing intent was targeted at him. It was as if the very air itself thickened due to this certain danger. The lethal energy emanating from the command center even shook the depths of Lu Xing's soul. He collapsed on the floor, retreating backward in fear. What the hell was that? What a terrifyingly intimidating force! That place isn't one I can go to with my current abilities. He knew in his heart that he should not linger near that place. After walking all the way to the inner side of the wall, the reality inside the city was presented before Lu Xing. All kinds of tall buildings and streets were present. The style was drastically different from the real world where he lived. After his repeated experiments, he found that the safe distance between him and the zombies was about 10 meters. As long as he did not get closer than 10 meters around the zombies, he wouldn't be discovered and attract their ire. Lu Xing slowly closed the distance to the gap, all the while keeping careful vigilance to avoid all the zombies roaming around. After roaming around for some time, Lu Xing finally found a residential building. Lu Xing randomly found a house and walked into it. There was no one in the house. The house was separated into several small rooms, but the overall space was small. A table was placed in the middle of the living room, and some dishes and tableware lay scattered on the table. The house did not contain any presence of zombies. Lu Xing guessed that under that horrible black fog, ordinary people might not even be qualified to turn into zombies. Finally, Lu Xing found a palm-sized, less than half-centimeter thick, gray-colored disc on the desk, with traces of writing left on it. Tian. Heng. Technologies. Lu Xing put his hand on the disc, trying to check if it works or not. After waiting for about a minute or so, Lu Xing was about to give up. At this time, he heard a drop sound, and then the disc in his hand began to emit a faint blue light. The blue light became more and more vibrant, but it wasn't blinding. The dusty, dead room seemed to gradually wake up with the appearance of this blue light. Welcome to Tianheng Technologies. A soft female voice came out of the disc. The blue light on the disc then began to quickly coalesce into a female silhouette. I can't believe it still functions. A trace of excitement surged in Lu Xing's heart. That's all for today. If you like the next part of this manhwa, just comment below. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment for getting epic content on this channel. See you next time.